Now I know Michael Jackson done made a song talking about it doesn't matter if you're black or white. Makes sense because at the end of the day we are human beings. However, color does play a part in some respects regard also circumstances. Meaning circumstantially, can we include or conclude that which color contributes to? Everyone has a maker, but in total, we all have a creator. Now, I say that to say this, because this is a question I saw in my mind. In the beginning, you had the original man and the original woman. I made a video a couple, maybe 2 weeks ago now, where I touched on, uh, I broke down the definition of what a mole is. You know, I'm talking about like the spotted mole on the human body. And one of the definitions was a high concentrated signification of melanin, meaning when I look at that dot on my, I got one here, I got rest on my body, whatever, and I say that is a representation of high concentration of melanin, which means that if I was full blooded, I would be practically the color of that same mole all over my body. I would be much darker. So that just gives me some insight of how the original man and woman, their complexion was, being melanin rich. Trust me, if that don't make sense to you, then you don't know science. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to mock you or ridicule or whatnot. Nah, it's just a fact. So evidently, a lot of us, are mixed products. Well, I'm sorry. Wait, I apologize. I don't want to say no mixed product. We are mixed beings. You know, blood touches blood. Different faith-based systems due to the parents. Uh, you have different birth origins, meaning like ancestry-wise. I even said a lot of people don't even know their tribes. A lot of us, brothers and sisters in the hood, throughout the ghetto hoods, throughout this whole United States of America, particularly, we don't know our tribe. And I say, okay, like, and I asked this question before, and I could also possibly use the Bible here because this is like a toss up. Whereas, look, now I said that the original man and the original woman was in the beginning of time, very dark toned people, in which you can find in Africa and also India. And I say, let's, if this being that there was a so-called number in which a lot of people just go off what's written in the Bible as if it's really concrete, you know. So let's just go with the idea that there's 12 tribes. Now, I don't care if a white man wrote that book, if you know what I'm saying, because with all due respect, why? Because as I've said in a video, many videos, that whenever we want to get that real answer, a true answer, We must quiet our minds and take it back to the ancient of days, take it back to the very beginning of time. Let that be your premise to where you would gather information and source it and, contemplate on things. Think it through. Keep things simple. You understand? Because as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. So respectfully, I think about the beginning of time. And if there were 12 tribes, and now we have all our, we share this beautiful land with our respective counterparts, because they're human beings too, European brothers and sisters and Asians. So, 12 tribes. Who are these 12 tribes of African descent? Don't tell me Jacob. Don't tell me about Abraham, with all due respect, because those are not African names. Do you follow me? You see, this is another problem. This is another reason why I know I'm at odds and variance, and they got me on a so-called watch list, but I don't mind that because I'm a human being. I don't got time for fear. I don't got time for all of that. My thing is, as funny as it seems, 'cause that should make me more, uh, I would have to say, formidable and more forceful out there. But what I found to be the real challenge is to work with, or to get through, in fact, to the people who have been heavily indoctrinated and those who are part of a system that is used to help wear out those who are called and chosen to do good works upon the earth. And I'm not just coming, that ain't coming from scripture either. That just comes from the idea that I have of those who wake up, clean up, and have been reborn. hmm a lot of us know that a lot of it could come from your own house. Um, you out there on the road, you got other people that, distant family members, and that's where it really hurts the most. But there's a lot of things we have to zero in on. I know a big thing that's gonna really shift the way that we're living is when we find out our tribes and we really get back to those. We really start to reenact the traditional moral code of our tribes. And it's funny how a lot of us want to break free from white people. A lot of people feel like, yo, a lot of my African people feel like they don't want no parts, no dealings really, and I could understand that. I can get with that for the sake of regrouping and getting back to who we are before we were put into slavery, colonized, so on and so on. Because I don't really think people know the detriments and the severity of what happens to human beings when they go through such travesty, psychologically, biologically, spiritually, emotionally. I mean, it goes very deep. And this is why I know that African people have the hardest job. We don't have a tough job. All people have a tough job here on earth for us to do the best that we can to bring about a utopia and to seek sanctification. But I just know, with all due respect, that I put it like this: the more melanin rich you are, the more work you have to do, the more responsibility you have. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because as I've said before, African people are the only ones who can truly bring heaven on earth or hell, because of that which we are made of, that which makes up our body. Excuse me. DNA, genetics. Okay, somebody just come on now. Let's be real. We're speaking about the Holy Creator here. That made that. I'm sorry. That created all things. So, in a sense, science is nothing to be played with. And when we speak in things like this, and for where we're trying to go, but it seems like it's so being here in America with so many things, like I said, has taken place before we even got here. And then when we got here, we've been experiencing a whole bunch of like, oh man, I don't even have to say it, man. We know from the 60s. I'm an 80s baby, but where we can go back and read in books and see in movies, we can pull up YouTube clips, which we have to also be very like use discernment, of course, and discretion, because we have to be careful on what we get from TV and YouTube and these social media platforms, because um, what AI is coming with and how they can duplicate things, in addition to a lot of our people where their memory box is dwindling, they start to lose their memory banks being wiped out. Things could come very, very like a artificial world in totality. So, you know, I know that we're gonna have to make a great sacrifice, but it's like when and how long? And I mean a serious one. I could see it. You know why I could see it? Because of what I have been experiencing, being shelterless and basically undocile. I'm not homeless. Everybody has a home. In part, America is my home because I was born here. But due to my bloodline that traces back to Africa, uh, that's where I belong, and so do you. People can choose to stay here. Can it's not a matter of running either. A lot of us talk about we make our ancestors proud. Perhaps I know one thing: we speaking in a tongue that came by way of home, where people die and be buried next to their tormentors with English writing on their tombstone. So we think we're making our ancestors proud when we're not even speaking our native tongue, our mother tongue, in heavenly so. Um, but let me draw back a little bit. There were 12 tribes, right? We got the Asians, we got the Mexicans, the Indians, we have Europeans, like the Italians and the Romans, you know, and everyone has basically everyone that has lighter skin has come from a melanated dominant figure. Who are they? Because we got some things to sort out, which is why when I stepped into consciousness and I started putting my eyes on the United Nations, I said, man, the United Nations in part is a joke. Even if you're at the bottom, in the hood, in the ghetto, I'm sorry, it shouldn't be looking the way that it is, man. Especially in New York City, that is so metropolis. I am sorry, okay? Where there's other things that we can cite about the conditions of Africa and what's been taking places with the resources and yada yada yada. There's so much that we can touch on. This is just a short video here, but You get my drift. So, okay, the Europeans and the Asians come from a melanated dominated being, man and woman. What were their names? What were their tribe? Because they are their kids, which means we're all family. So I don't understand. That's how I know the devil is in the world, because how could there be so much fighting and there's tension and enmity, confusion, frustration amongst brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, aunties and uncles. You dig me? It don't make sense. It don't make sense, yo. Now this doesn't mean that I'm don't even try to think that I'm condoning interracial mixing, because I think what needs to happen with that is that there needs to be like a, for those that don't know, including myself, I have some knowledge but not much of it in regards to mixing and the laws of mixing. Like what do we, and I ain't just talking about holy matrimony. I'm seriously talking about mixing. Like like I said, okay, I like to put my mind in the beginning of time, and let's say if I have my village over here, this is my tribe, and that village is in a whole nother state or continent. But those people from another continent came over as travelers, and my daughter may have, you know, liked what she sees in the guy who is another tribal man's son. What is the law? What are we doing here? When do we factor in not just traditions, culture, heritage, which is all under the umbrella of science? That's why I love science as a kid. I get upset at myself that I didn't involve myself and go full hunted with becoming a biologist, or it's never too late. No, it's not. But due to where I'm at right now, I guess I have to pull through and persevere and really go for the hunted. It's just that it's very difficult, because for anyone that uh, awakens, especially the older you get, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to undo a lot of things when there's things thrown at in your face all day, and the old you is trying to grab on you, and it's like there's so many temptations out here too. So how do you fight? How do you get through? How do you push through? How do you succeed by getting to the top of that mountain, man? It's not an easy task. Many things out here is very impressionable upon us. Everybody want the success. Everybody want the cars, the clothes, the clout. Yo, I got this you know what I'm saying? Reputation is real. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is some things that we ought to have in life, but by what means? You dig me? That's real talk, man. We've been so caught up in what has been given to us constructively, where they, done all kind of practices on us, social engineering, all kinds of shit happened to us, man. African men and women here within America. It's like I don't understand how people not hearing me, and like trying to converse and really deal with the real. Yo, what the fuck, yo? Sometimes I think, man, if God give me the power to off some people, I gotta stay fully loaded. And will a time like that even come? Because just the things that we're doing with our lives, to me, it's just like some people may say, "Well, what are you doing with your life?" Yeah, I know. But I tell you what, I'll put it to you like this. Perhaps I could be more appealing. Yeah, because that's a great thing. That's a takes serious skill to speak serious things like Dick Gregory, and interject humor to make things more palatable and sensible. That takes skill. One of the toughest things I have right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Let me just put it out there, is that I have a hard time because I know who I am per se. Because I feel like I need to get some more information on my ancestry, of my ancestry. But one of the major things that I have, one of the major problems, is how I converse whenever necessary with my European brothers and sisters, or with the European group. Let me just go and put it like that, because there's still, like, although I'm a conscious being. There is so much that has happened where it's not easy. It's not that easy for me to say, "Hey, let me just strike up a con." And even if we do, it's not going to be that long. So that's how I know that, due to the spirit world, there is still a lot of things that has been undone. I'm sorry, not undone, but unresolved. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it in me every day. I feel it in me every day. Yeah. So, and another thing before I close, I feel like this. It hurts that we've lost a lot of people who tried and have done some work. The Tupac, I'm sorry to even name the brother before Malcolm, and you know other great men and women of renown: Ashraf Kwesi, Yosef Ben Yakinen, Henrik Clark, you know, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, and many others. And we still have some leading figures here with us now. They putting in that work, where it's like, for all the work that has been put in and still trying, for those who are doing work now, how is it that the 16% of African descendants are still at the bottom when we don't even have a centralized market in town and city? Like, you feel what I'm saying, here in 2023? And now that it's being, now it seems that we have the opportunity, in which we always did. It was just a matter of getting to it. I still feel that we are disenfranchised, and we are going to continue to be chastised as a whole, as a group, until we go back home. We really have to get, and that's, oh, I got to make another video talking about my African brothers and sisters too, because I'm like, yo, for all the traditions that they follow, the rituals that they know and whatnot, like, just the cultural norms, and with the establishment of the United Nations, what the hell took them so long to regroup with their lost brothers and sisters here? Seriously. But we need to get the names of these tribal men of African descent that birth. I would like this kind of information, and I think that's something that should be taught. It shouldn't be so secretive, so we can start doing better as a nation of people all over the world. Quit these goddamn. Well, I doubt that's going to quit. We got these religions. Yo, peace, yo. Thank you for tuning in.